Hi and welcome, chart artists. There's blood on the street. We're going to $15,000. What is going on? When the price goes down, people go into panic mode. They sell their Bitcoin. The world is coming to an end. Blood on the street. We are dumping. We're going back down to I don't know what level. It never ceases to amaze me how the price of Bitcoin impacts people's emotions. They see one green candle and we are going to $100,000. They see one red candle and we're going back to $15,000. When in doubt, zoom out. Let's analyze the price of Bitcoin here together. Before we dive in, please smash up the like, hit subscribe for future notifications. Let's look at some news, market sentiment, look at the bigger time frame here on Bitcoin. Perhaps we'll jump into Ethereum as well. Let's look at the liquidity heat map. Let's look at some CBD and get right into it. Okay, before we start, as always, if you'd like to trade with me, please use one of these wonderful exchanges. Please sign up using one of the exchanges. 30,000 bonus for Bybit, $5,000 USD bonus for BingX, and $20,000 bonus for Mexi. Depending on how much money you put in, the money gets airdropped into your futures or derivatives account, and they all have their T's and C's inside. So please read carefully, and it costs you nothing, and it helps to support this channel. Also, if you'd like to receive daily updates from myself and Andy, please sign up to our Legends Discord community, and where we trade and share daily analysis, give updates. Be part of a great community where you can learn to fish for yourself. Okay, let's get right into it. First things up. Okay, let's keep that for now. Liquidity, we'll get to that for now. And just quite interesting, how quickly people turn bearish. And what I'm seeing right here is perhaps just a healthy correction where we have a little dump to the downside. We find support for continuation to the upside, as can be seen from previous bull cycles as well. 2020, you have a correction. You try to break through, another correction, and then off to the races you go. So history doesn't repeat, but it sure as hell rhymes. What else? What else? What caused the crash? Why are we seeing the blood on the street? Why are we going back to $15,000? Why is everyone so bearish at the moment? As per, I think, my previous update as well, some of the sell-offs, people bought Bitcoin via Grayscale, okay? Big institutions, money, people with large amounts of money, that's where they bought their Bitcoin. And there's a lot of sell-offs happening at the moment. Also, the FTX collapse, I'm not sure if you guys are aware. If you've been in the game long enough, you must probably lost a couple of bucks over there as well. So did I in the FTX collapse. It's one of the exchanges that I did use in the past. They went down, and what they've been doing is they filed for bankruptcy, and then they are now in a process where they are selling off 22 million shares. So it is a combination of investors have sold more than 2 billion worth of Grayscale Bitcoin trusts since it was converted into an exchange traded. So with the ETFs being launched, people have now removed their money from the GBTC trust, and they are now participating in the ARK investment, BlackRock, and that's why we're seeing the massive outflow of money, which is now causing the dump. Also, FTX is done selling its substantial holdings. FTX had to sell 22 million shares, according to a private data CoinDesk reviewed, and two people familiar with the matter. Selling pressure will end soon. So perhaps this is the dip. Is this the dip for continuation to the downside, or are we going to see a further correction? Okay, we can analyze the price of Bitcoin, get to that right now, and perhaps that's the end of the news. Let's dive into the price of Bitcoin. So zooming out here on the price of Bitcoin, we have to just take a little bit of stock. The one thing I highlighted here is to say that when you take a value area, a fixed range from the bull market during 2020 and 2022, okay? You have a value area high, you have a point of control, and you have a value area low. The point of control is where the highest volume was traded during this entire range, okay? This point of, or the value area low, as can be seen, we broke down the value area low, we consolidated, not getting back into the value area, and this is also very familiar to people that do range trading. They love to use this tool. When you fail to get back above the level, you then reject and you find continuation to the downside, where we then made the bottom, okay, for Bitcoin during 2022, okay, November. Then we continued with the uptrend, and this value area low act as resistance for the price to break through. You can see almost reaching it over here, making a higher low, failing to break through here, making another low, and then finally we pierced through. The one concerning thing to me was to say that, well, ideally what you would like to see when you come back into a range is that you want to see us come back, test it as support, flip it into support, RS flip resistance into support, then, you climb it like a ladder. Perhaps you break through there, you test it as support. That is usually considered a healthy upwards momentum. this was very aggressive to the upside. And as you can see here, we literally broke through the value area low, no retest. Then we broke through the point of control, no retest. We consolidated over here, and then we failed to break through the value area high. And now for the first time, we're coming back to retest it. Okay, so quite important from a macro perspective that we hold the point of control, which also has the most volume over here. So this could perhaps be the area where we find and consolidate for perhaps momentum to the upside, where we make either a lower high for continuation, and if we do lose the point of control, we will come back to the value area low, which is also in alignment with these highs and the price that everyone's calling for this healthy correction, which is here at the $31,000 level. What else? Let's zoom into smaller time frames and see what's going on here. So let's switch on the VRVP. Okay. From the VRVP, let's go into the 4 hours. So I can just get more real estate. We can take this out. What I'm seeing over here, let's just zoom in here. Okay, this shows you where volume, the most volume was traded on the move up or on the move down. And as you can see here, where we are right now, and this is kind of why we dropped so quickly when we hit this resistance. So when we moved up here, okay, let me zoom in there. When we moved up here, we basically back tested these lows as resistance and we moved down. But look at how little volume there is over here, okay? So usually when there's not a lot of volume, price tends to slice through it like butter. And that's exactly what happened here. We retested, found weakness, and we sliced through this area. At the moment, still not a lot of volume. So we could find some support where we have these high volume nodes over here, okay? Which is this consolidation area over here where you can see some high volume node spikes. So at the moment where we are right now, we are on top of that point of control, which I highlighted. And for swing failure patterns or traders out there, you know the deal. You go below a level, you get acceptance back above, you enter stop loss below, you wait until you're in the green, you move your stop to break even to protect your capital. Please protect your capital. The market is here to take it, and you need to be cautious and have good risk management. Now that I've switched everything on that I can switch on to see where some resistance above and where some nice support below, at the moment from a swing failure perspective, we have tapped the major point of control, and also just below the major point of control, we had a weekly point of control. Okay, so we did have a reaction. First, when we tapped the weekly the point of control, we found weakness, and now we're getting acceptance back above the level. Okay, so that's usually a sign of strength. You long the acceptance or you short the acceptance back above or below the level from a swing failure perspective. And you move your stop to break even, protect your capital, and don't be scared to re-enter if we do find a little deviation. Okay, so let's say this plays out and we do this. That's definitely another long entry stop loss. When you're moving to the green, you move your stop loss to break even. Okay, if you would like to know more about that strategy, and it looks easier the way that I'm explaining it than actually doing it and pulling the trigger and exercising good risk management, please join our Legends community and link down in the description. Then what I've got here is I'm also tracking from a trend line perspective. I'm also tracking this momentum to the downside. So perhaps, a scenario that I am keeping in mind is to say that, okay, let me just take the brushes here out, is to say that perhaps we find strength here, okay? We come and reject from this trend line to find momentum to the downside. And then perhaps another acceptance back above these levels for then a breakout. This could also be a little fake out. You know how they like to trap traders? A little fake out, everyone starts longing, the breakout trader starts longing, it stops them out. And then we have the real breakout to the upside. We do have some high volume nodes on the way up. And there's also a daily and a naked weekly level, which we did consolidate, we broke through, that can act as resistance on our way up here. So you definitely want to be taking profits and protecting your capital, moving your stop loss up for any long positions at the moment. As the market trend seems to be going down, you want to favor shorts and you want to be more aggressive with your long entries. Okay, and then if we do smash through here with high volume, perhaps we consolidate. I've got another trend that I'm tracking here, and let's just zoom out so we can see on a bigger time frame what that looks like. Okay. Let's take the VRVP out here. It's actually quite distracting. Okay, so yeah, from these highs over here, I've just excluded this deviation. I like the momentum of this trend line. It doesn't really make sense for me at the moment to put the trend here on top. Things just look a bit too steep. I don't like trend lines that are too steep. They are bound to have lots of fake outs and false signals, and I generally don't like to trade those trend lines. So for now, this looks like a more valid trend line where you have a nice little touch. You broke through, you found support, you broke down, you retested it as resistance, and now perhaps if we do break through this downsloping trend line, we have another one that we can find resistance, which connects these highs, and then another one further up, which is also in alignment with the untapped daily level. Okay, so perhaps another sweep of all this liquidity lying up here before we then find further continuation to the downside, then also creating that higher low. Okay, we'll just have to see how this plays out. You want to ideally see a higher low. Nothing just goes down in a straight line. So perhaps a scenario is to say that we find strength here, we break through, perhaps we reject, we break through again, we find strength, we consolidate, we break through, we reject for continuation, then back to the downside. Okay, so you want to see a lower high form for a change in market structure to the downside. Okay, let's jump into some Bitcoin dominance. What do we see on dominance? As per some of my previous updates as well, looks like we've formed a nice head and shoulders over here. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Okay, I'm here on the 4 hour, and if I zoom in, it looks a little bit better. And we formed a little bear flag here at the bottom, of which we now broke to the upside, and perhaps that will just be a beautiful, you go find momentum to the upside, you retest this trend line, making yet again a lower high, like we've did here. We have the high over there, lower high for then continuation to the downside. Okay, but the structure is still bearish from a macro perspective, is perhaps lower high for continuation to the downside. And if we do find strength back above this trend, then perhaps that 60% mark is still on the cards, where we're going to go up and claim the 60% mark that everyone's eyeing for the remainder of this year for the Bitcoin dominance chart. Okay, let's just go on the daily. And you'll see that that 60% mark has confluence with the downside of this consolidation, which will act as resistance if we don't turn around here. But for now, we've made a lower high. We have broken the trend. Although we are finding momentum to the upside, like I've mentioned, we can still go and retest that trend line, making yet another lower high for continuation to the downside. So this bear rally could be very short-lived for people to switch gears again for the momentum to the upside. What else? ETH to BTC, spoke about this yesterday as well. We broke through this major trend. We made a bull flag. We found continuation to the downside. As per my discussion yesterday, I said I would like to see us bounce here either on the 236 or the 382, which has perfect confluence with retesting the trend line. So we did find some consolidation over here, and perhaps this will be a beautiful retest for continuation to the upside. We'll just have to observe how that, and of course, you can have those little wicks to the inside, but still continuing to find acceptance back above the trend. And you don't really want to see closing candles, especially like daily or 8 hour or 4 hour candles close below the trend line, because that could mean that we're going to find continuation back down, potentially testing the 786, which also has confluence with some support levels. Okay, what else? CRV, some of the altcoins, I'll be honest, does look a little bit bearish. Some of them have lost trend completely, and it opens the door to some nice shorting opportunities. CRV here hanging on by a thread. So when I zoom in here, let's go into the 12 hour and see what's happening here. You can see literally 1, 2, 3 touches where we are right now, hanging on by a thread. Will we see a turnaround for a possible bounce and a break of this trend, or is this going to find further continuation to the downside? Okay, lots of fear in the market at the moment. I like to buy up the fear, so I'm adding to my spot bags as we go down lower. Perhaps we find a rejection here and we make that beautiful double bottom, or then a nice continuation to the upside. Okay, CRV has been one of those coins that's lagging behind and still in a great accumulation zone for me. So every dip I see, I add to my spot bags. Okay, Solana lost trend. Okay, we've been inside of this upsloping trend line for quite some time. As you can see here, I've been tracking the momentum to the upside. We have little support over here, which is now flipped into resistance, failing to break through, struggling, finally breaking through, losing this trend. So currently, shorts are in our favor, even when it gets to strong coins like Solana. That is basically it from me today. As always, please, if you've watched until now, please smash up the like to say that you've enjoyed the content. Also, please subscribe for future notifications. Until the next one, cheers for now.